Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about VHDL language concepts. My name is Meenakshi Pawar. I am the professor of Electronics and Telecommunication Department, Sveris College of Engineering, Pandharpur. So let us start with this VHDL statement which have been used in order to construct a design logic. So what the most commonly sentences or statements used in the VHDL are signal assignment. Here the signal assignment is represented by the symbol of less than or equal to. So it can be we can read this statement as A gets value B. Then next statement that is being common that is being used in the VHDL and which is known as a VHDL constructs are equal, then less than and greater than. These are the three statements or constructs can be used. Then boolean operations, AND gate, OR gate, NOT gate and XOR gate, these are also defined by the IEEE library. Then sequential statements like case statement, if statement and for statement, and the finally concurrent statement which can be written with the help of signal assignment or with the help of when else statement. So let us start with the VHDL design unit. So while designing a circuit by using VHDL, the design unit composed of entity, architecture, sometime processes, then sometime package and library. These things are required while writing the VHDL code. So let us start with the entity. Entity are nothing but the which defines the external interface. Now let us take an example of half adder in which A and B are the inputs, sum and carry are the outputs. In order to define these interfaces or these pins, here the entity should be written. So entity, while writing the entity can be defined with the help of keyword entity followed by the user defined name of entity. Here we have given half underscore add, then is also an internal keyword, then port open bracket. A and B are the input standard logic and sum and carry are the output standard logic, and the entity should be ended with the by closing this bracket and then giving semicolon, and end name of entity is half adder, half underscore add. So in this way we can define the entity. So let us take some more examples of entity. So here we will be considering entity have been written for AND gate. As we have seen, AND is an construct, VHDL construct, which is defined by the library IEEE. So here while writing the name of entity, as AND is an keyword, so we cannot write name of entity only by writing AND. So instead of writing AND, here what we have done, we have written AND 2. So this is the name of the entity which will define the functionality of AND gate. Whereas A and B are the inputs and C as an output bit. So here in earlier case we have considered the AND gate. Now we will be considering the 4:1 mux. So here I0, I1, I2, I3, these are the input ports. A and B are the select lines which are also an input port. So all those things we have taken in a single line. So each and every port should be separated by a semicolon and Q as an output. So in the another way we can also write it as an port I0, I1, I2, I3 are as an input standard logic, and in the second line A and B are the input standard logic. Both assignments are equal. Now the architecture. So architecture will be describing the internal operation of its associated entity. In earlier slide we have considered the architecture of half adder. So we have considered the entity of half adder. So in this slide we will be writing up the architecture or internal circuit diagram or internal functionality of half adder by writing the sum and carry statements. So here sum assigns to A XOR B and carry assigns to A and B. These two statements are defining the functionality of half adder. So while writing this functionality, this should be written in the architecture. So architecture, name of architecture is of half adder entity is of my arch of, name of entity is half underscore add is, the architecture begin with the keyword begin, and in this the body of begin and end, in between the designer have to write an functionality of given design unit. So here the design unit is half adder and their functionalities are defined with the help of sum and carry. So these two statements are defining the architecture of half adder. So let us start with the another example of D flip flop. In the D flip flop here the complete architecture or complete D flip flop VHDL code is being defined here. So for writing any code we have to define first library followed by a entity. So entity D flip flop DFF is the keyword or is the entity name, and then is port. There are three input port actually, D and clock. These are the input STD logic. Reset, this is also an input STD logic, and Q is the output STD logic. Now while this is an sequential we want to define and register, so this is a sequential circuit. So sequential circuit in the architecture will be defined with the help of process statement. So here we have written the architecture, name of architecture as behave, of name of entities D flip flop is begin. Now in this architecture the sequential logic is defined with the help of process statement. So process consists of the sensitivity with which the execution of process is carried out when there will be a change in the sensitivity list is taking place. So if clock will be changes or reset will be changes, at that time process will be executed. So in the process here we have written the sequential statement as an if. So by using if statement we have defined the functionality of D flip flop, that is if reset is equal to 1 then output Q gets value 0 because it will be defining a reset state of D flip flop. Else if, now here we have considered the attribute as clock tick event and clock is equal to 1. This attribute defines, or this will represent that when there will be a clock event is taking place, that is clock is changing from either low logic to high logic or high logic to low logic. So in this way the clock when clock the state of clock is changing and clock will be equal to, means level of clock is equal to 1, this indicates that the flip flop will be triggered, or flip flop the output Q gets value equal to D when there will be a rising edge will be found. So this clock tick event and clock is equal to 1 defines the rising edge of the clock, then Q gets value is equal to D. End if, end process and end architecture, name of architecture is behave. So this way we can write the VHDL code for D flip flop. Then another example here we have considered the 4-bit register by using the hierarchical representation. So here we have considered the 4 different type of D flip flop. So for implementation of this 4-bit register, here we have taken the D flip flop which we have designed in the which we have designed earlier. So for using this D flip flop for implementation of 4-bit register, here what we have observed that there are 4-bit input, 4-bit output, clock and reset statement. So we'll define this in the entity of 4 register, whereas D in is a in STD logic vector 3 down to 0. clock and reset, these are the in STD logic, because these are the 1 bit input, and Q as an 4 bit input. So it is defined as out STD logic underscore vector 3 down to 0, and in these many interfaces are required, so it will be end by end register 4. Name of this we have given as a register 4, so end register 4. Now we will be writing the architecture. So architecture structure of register 4 is, now here we have used 4 different D flip flop, which are the same D flip flop. So this D flip flop we have designed earlier, so that the D flip flop we will be using directly in this implementation. So what we will do, how we will introduce this D flip flop, by using component statement. So component, the name of flip flop is DFF is, and the same whatever we have taken up the entity in the D flip flop, the same position or same sequence should be maintained. So we have written in the earlier in this example, entity D flip flop DFF is. So what we have done, we have removed this entity word, and there we have written the component D flip flop. Port, so D and clock as an in STD logic, reset as an in STD logic, Q as an out STD logic, so end component. And then this definition has happened between architecture and begin of architecture. So after begin of architecture, now what we have to do, we have to port map all this, or we have to connect all this D flip flop according to the requirement. So in for implementation, or for mapping this D flip flop with a different input and output, what we have done, we have taken the port map statement now. So for writing this port map statement, what we have done, there we have considered label U0, U1, U2 and U3. You can take any of the name. Here I have taken name as a U0, U1, U2, U3, and the name of component is D flip flop, and this mapping of these signals will be done with the help of port map keyword. So port map open bracket, then this sequence whatever we have declared in the component, the same sequence should be maintained here. So here we have taken D in of 0, followed by clock, followed by reset signal, and followed by Q out of 0. So as this is an 4 bit D in is a 4 bit signal, so what this can be represented by D of 0, D of 1, D in of 2, D in of 3. So this way 3 components have been mapped accordingly, and this will implement the 4 bit register. So this is also the way of representation of or writing way of the VHDL code. So, and this kind of implementation is called as a structural modeling So now the signal association, there are while performing the structural modeling, there are 2 methods of association of signal. In the first case, we can have a positional association, or we should strictly maintain the sequence with which the component is defined, and there we need not to, or we can directly write it as U1 D flip flop port map. D in will be matched with the first input, then clock will be matched with the second input, reset will be matched with the third input, and Q will be matched with the output. So this association is called as a positional association. Position is very important, so signal can be mapped according to the position. Then the second way of associating signal is name association. So here D gets value is equal to D in, then clock gets value is equal to clock, then reset gets value is equal to RST and Q gets value is equal to Q out. So this is the another way of writing the or performing port map or writing the association of the signal. So either you can go with the positional association or you can go with the name association. Then signal declaration. Here the signal signal is required when we want to connect two logic. So internal connections of this logic can be done with the help of signal are representing a wiring between the two subunits. So if internal signals are required, then in hierarchical description they must be explicitly declared. If the internal signals are required in the hierarchical description, they must be explicitly declared. Now here subunit A and subunit B. In order to connect these two units, we need an internal wiring or internal connections. So for this, performing this internal connection here, we need to define a signal. So signals are defined with the help of keyword signal, name of signal as a bus _ 1, std logic _ vector 3 down to 0, and the another signal is signal _ 1, which is a single bit. Now here you can observe that while declaring the signal, in case of port declaration, we must have to write an mode of the port, either it is an input port or output port. But while writing an signal, we need not to write an direction is not required, but the data type is required. So what we have written, the signal can be written as with the help of keyword signal followed by name of signal followed by a data type. Here it is the standard _ logic _ vector 3 down to 0. So this is an 4-bit signal. So in this way, internal signal or internal connections are defined with the help of the signal, and those signal must be declared in the architecture declaration part. So this is another thing that we need to understand. Then macro instantiation. So macro instantiation are nothing but the in order to instantiate the component, we have to port map. So port mapping is nothing but the component instantiation. Components are declared and those components are initialized by using the port map signal. So another thing that we are going to understand are the direct entity instantiation. In the VHDL, it is possible to initialize an entity from working library directly, that is without an explicit component declaration. So we can directly initialize the entity, so without initializing the component. So this is also possible in the VHDL. Then the next thing that we need to understand is the process statement. So process statements have been written in the architecture body. So these process statements are used for the sequential statement. In order to when we want to use and sequence, we want to define and sequential statements like if, then case statements. So these are the etc. These are the statements can be declared by using the process statement. So process contains sequential statement, that is the action to be executed in a sequence. Each process has means of being triggered either by change on signal or into the process or specific condition defined in the wait statement. So execution of process statement happens when signal change is taking place. In this case, the process is executed when clock or reset signal is being changed. The sensitivity, if we don't write sensitivity, then we'll have to define a wait statement. The process, though what we have considered that the statement under the process are sequential statement, but the process statement is a concurrent statement. In the hardware modeling, the concept of concurrency is essential. That is, logic change on signal Z, the output gate G1 seen at the output gate G2 and G3, G2 and G3 in a concurrent and independent manner. So this process statement here, process 1, process 2 and process 3. The process 1, where the execution of process 1 is independent, but the process 2 and process 3 execution are depends upon the process 1, whereas process 2 and process 3 are the concurrent statements. So in this way, this process statements, process 2 and process 3 statements are executing at a time, but the whatever statements are written under process 1, under process 2, under process 3, all are sequential. Now we'll look into the concurrent versus sequential statement. The statements we have looked at so far are the concurrent statement. Each concurrent statement will synthesize to a block of logic. Another class of VHDL statements are called as the sequential statement. The sequential statement can only appear inside the process block. The process block is considered to be a single concurrent statement. Can have multiple process blocks in the architecture. Usually we use the process blocks to describe the complex or sequential logic. Then the next design entity, that is a package. The VHDL design unit package is used to store the data that will be accessed by multiple modules. This usually includes constant, data type, declarations, etc. So package, when we want to write a package can be written with the help of keyword package. Name of package, which is an user defined name. Here we have given name as an my_pack. Is in this declaration or in this storage area, we can have the different declarations. We can have a constant declaration, function declaration, component declaration, subtype declaration, and this whatever we have stored here, this can be globally accessible in any program. So the package is end by end package. Name of package is mypack. So when we are writing a code, let's say whenever we are writing a code, before entity we must declare a library. Usually we declare library IEEE, and then this can be used with the help of symbol use std_logic_1164.all. Now whatever things we have written in the package of mypack is stored in the work library. So if I want to use this definition which are stored in the package name of mypack, if I want to use it, should be written with the help of use work, where the storage is or package is stored, work dot my name of package is my_pack dot all, which defines that whatever the definitions are present in the mypack, all definitions can be used by the designer in his or her designing unit by using this syntax use work dot mypack dot all. Usually whatever packages we are writing or whatever codes we are writing, those are stored in the work library. This is actually a physical location used to store all analyzed design units. Each simulator or synthesis tool will create such a structure, design unit and identifiers. So this is a work library where all the definitions are stored. Then a VHDL program for combinational logic can be written with the template of entity, model name, then the list of input and output ports, and then architecture where all the concurrent statements are executed. So we'll have some examples. Let us consider the another example of decoder. If I want to design a decoder, what is a decoder? Decoder there in which it has an n input and 2 raised to n output. So truth table for decoder is represented here. When the input 0 0 is applied, the output line of 0th line will be activated. When 0 1 is applied, the output line or y of 1 or o of 1, the first line is activated, 1 0 second line is activated, and 1 1 will represent that the third line will be activated. So this way the decoder can be designed. Similarly for encoder, which has an functionality that which is an opposite that of the decoder. So in case of encoder, it has 2 raised to n input and only n outputs are present. So input here again this is represented with the help of truth table. So let's say if we give 0 0 0 1 input, then output 0 0 you will get the output as a 0 0. So this is an functionality of encoder which is exactly reverse that of the decoder. So let us will consider the VHDL code for the encoder. So here the encoder are designed with the help of OR gate. So this is again represented by using a structural design. Then here the another way of writing an encoder by using when statement, by using a case statement. So this is an sequential modeling. So encoder the sequential modeling is defined with the help of process statement. So here the process the input I, because input I is changing according to the output line will be activated. Here we have considered the 3:8 3:3 encoder. So 8 input lines are there and 3 output lines are presented by this code. So when input as 0 0 the 0th line will be activated, output gets value equal to 0 0 0. The first line activated, so output will get the value equal to 0 0 1. So this is implemented that case I is when the input as 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1, at that time y gets value equal to 0 0. Then when there will be a first input line is activated, then output will be equal to 0 0 1. So accordingly the encoder is designed. If you want to design an decoder which will be opposite that of the encoder. So let us consider an priority encoder. So in case of priority encoder, the depending upon the bit line, the priority encoder depending upon this the input the output will be generating. In general, in case of priority encoder, a generic encoder does not know what to do when multiple input bits are asserted. To handle this case, we need to include an prioritization. Then we decided that the list of priority MSB to LSB. In this case now we have represented this by using a truth table. So here MSB bit priority of MSB bit is considered. So whatever may be the remaining bits, the MSB bit will represent the output line. So here 1, then whatever may be the MSB bit is activated or MSB bit is at logic high, so whatever may be the remaining bits, those are don't care. So this will be representing output is equal to 1 1. Then again in the next line, when the second bit this we have considered the 4:2 encoder. So in this case now second after MSB bit is 1, and whatever may be the remaining bit according to the output is generated. So depending upon this, here we have formulated a equation, and those equations are being built by using the VHDL code. So here we have written the VHDL code by using a concurrent statement when else. So y gets value is equal to 1 1 1 when I7 bit is 1, whatever may be the remaining bit. When I7 bit is 1, output will be equal to 1 1 1. When I6 bit is equal to 1, the output gets value equal to 1 1 0. So depending upon the priority or the most significant bit, the output will be generated. This is in this way the prioritization of the MSB bit to the LSB bit can be done, and the corresponding code has been written here. So the next combinational logic that we will see called as a multiplexer. So we know that multiplexer is nothing but the unit where it has multiple inputs and single output, and this input can be selected or can be chosen depending upon the select line. So select line is equal to 0, then A will be connected to the output. When select line is equal to 1, B will be connected to the output, or B input will be given to the output. So this way, this is an implementation of 2:1 multiplexer. So here we will be writing a code for 2:1 multiplexer by using AND and OR combination. So here this circuit can be implemented by using a structural modeling. So this is being represented here. The component, inverter, AND gate and OR gates are used in order to implement the multiplexer logic by using a structural modeling. Now this structural modeling, after that we can implement 4:1 mux by using a sequential modeling or behavioral modeling. So by using this again, for defining a multiplexer by using behavioral modeling, here we will have to use a process statement. As like in earlier case, if I want to implement a multiplexer by using structural modeling, we must have a component in component declaration and component instantiation. So similarly for multiplexer design by using a behavioral modeling, the process must be defined. So in this process, now here we have considered the sensitivity list as a input D, select line and enable line. So according to that, we have used a if statement. If enable is equal to 1, then depending upon the case statement, so case select is when 0 0, then y gets value D of 0. When 0 1, these are the choices for select line, and according to the output will be chosen. So this way, the case, with the help of case statement, we can give different choices, and according to that input will be assigned to a particular output. This is an multiplexer. The functionality of multiplexer we have seen, it is a multi-input single output. This exactly reverse is applicable in case of demultiplexer, which is having a single input and multiple output. Its a structural diagram or gate diagram is also represented for multiplexer. So in order to implement this multiplexer, we can implement by using a structural modeling, that is by initializing the component statement. Then we can implement by using a behavioral modeling, where this can be done with the help of process and case statement. Then next, the tri-state buffer. In order to have an tri-state buffer are nothing but here we have to use an enable line in order to pass the input towards the output. This is also we can implement by using a VHDL. So here the tri-state buffer we have defined with the help of process. If enable is equal to 1, output will be tri-stated, and else output will be equal to input. So depending upon the enable input, the output will be assigned accordingly. So this can be written by using a VHDL language, a VHDL code. So comparator, this is an again the combinational circuit where the comparator in which output values are either we have output when both the inputs are equal to 1, greater than 1 and less than 1. So 2 input, 3 output. So this functionality also can be implemented by using a K-map. So equations can be we can get the equations when we use a K-mapping. So equal to is defined with the help of A XOR B, then greater than is A and B dash, less than is A dash and B. So these three equations with the help of we can define the 1-bit comparator. So after comparator we can have an iterative functionality of comparator. 4-bit comparator here I have represented here. A3 XOR B3, A2 XOR B2, A1 XOR B1 and A0 XOR B1, and all those things are added together. So this is an 4-bit comparator which is then replicated by using a single bit comparator. So similarly, in the next case, in the next implementation, we have here consider the iterative comparator equal to, now greater than, same way greater than logic also can be implemented. So this way we can have the greater than, less than and equal to logic, for which by assigning or by defining the component and by instantiation or initializing the component, we can write a VHDL code for 4-bit comparator, 1-bit comparator. By using this process statement also we can write a comparator VHDL code for the comparator. Now let us consider the another very important combinational logic called as a adder. So here half adder, full adder, 4-bit adder, that is nothing but a combination of the half adder and full adder. So for implementation of full adder, we know that it consists of 3 input and 2 outputs. 3 inputs are A, B and the initial carry, as and Cin. According to that, sum and carry equations are formulated, and with which we can design the full adder. By cascading full adder, we can design the ripple carry adder. Here 4-bit ripple carry adder is represented by cascading 4 different full adders. So these for each individual full adder, the sum and carry equations are represented by initializing by declaring the component and initializing the component. We can implement a ripple carry adder by using the structural modeling. So subtractor also in the same way, truth table for subtractor is written, and with the help of this truth table the design equations are also modulated by using K-map. So full subtractor is represented here. Then multiplier, this is another mathematical equation which is also called as a multiplication. So for multiplication, here what we are requiring multiplicand, multiplier and product terms. So this by analyzing the partial products of first multiplier, second multiplier, third multiplier, as here we have considered the 4-bit multiplier. So depending upon this partial product, we can get directly final output or intermediate outputs can be obtained by by performing an addition. So this is a complete structure of multiplier by using shift and add method. This is already we have studied in the class. So let us go through all those notes so that you can understand the terminology of multiplier. So division also, by using repeated shift and subtraction, we can perform the division operation. So thank you for watching this video and all the best for your exam. Thank you so much.